Hi, it's Dr. Teran, and you're listening to The Pop. The Pursuit of Peace podcast is brought to you by SP Consulting Group, where the mission is bringing your vision to life. All right, and welcome back to The Pop. This is Dr. Teran, and we're here again to talk more about mindfulness, right? There's 50 million practices. I'm kidding. If you listen to me long enough, you know that that's my word I use when I'm talking about a large number. All right. So today we're just going to be talking about mindfulness from the standpoint of how many practices are actually out there. You know, is deep breathing and, putting your fingers together and closing your eyes the only thing that there is to it? Or are there so many different practices that you can try for yourself or that you can learn how to do? Or is this all just a lot of hype? You know, you see it everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. You see it in the grocery store when you're in the line and it's like mindfulness splattered across the front cover of a health magazine. And it's like, really, what is this about? So I'm going to take this time, since this month we're going to be talking about mindfulness. This is the perfect time to talk about practices that help bring us peace, right? We are the POP, the pursuit of peace. So we delve into and look at so many different areas that could possibly bring us peace, right? So there's a few tips I'll throw in there, but just follow along with me on this one because I want to see if any of this is going to help you. I know that I've been able to dig a little bit deeper and figure out what's working for me. So how about you try it too? So let's look at this. I have here a list I went through, and of course, knowing me, I'm like, let's get to the bottom of it. Let me be able to share this information with my listeners so that we can get them all the way together if they don't have any other way to center themselves, you know? So the list here that I have is called Mindfulness for Dummies. Of course, I went there. I had to go there because I'm like, cut out all the fluff, right? Cut all the fluff out and just give me mindfulness. So these are the different types of mindfulness, and this may not be an exhaustive list. This is my disclaimer, but I did go to this thing called, Mindfulness for Dummies. I really did. So I just want to share a little bit. Let's see. In general, again, for those that don't know, mindfulness is the act of being aware, being present, mindful of your thoughts, mindful of your attitude, mindful of your experiences, and just being present to your entire experience of life. Like you can practice mindfulness over any length of time, and for the durations of a single breath, you can do this. Or you can do this your whole life. I've always found that when you are consistent with any particular practice, whether it's prayer, whether it's mindfulness, whether it is reading, you always get the biggest bang for your buck, so to speak, when you actually do it consistently, right? Just like with diet, we had our friend Angela Stansel on talking about our nutrition. You have to be consistent to get the results. And since we are on this pursuit of peace, keep that in mind because we can definitely minimize our stressors, minimize all the conflicting things that are coming against us when it comes down to our health. So what's the point of mindfulness? Okay, you can practice this while you're sitting. You can practice it at your office. You can practice it on your way to work. If you're in a commute, you can practice it at home, whether people are knowing that you're practicing this or not. It is really up to you. And it's the type of practice that you take, right? You can actually do this while you're walking down the street. You can do this while you're talking to someone, talking with your partner, talking to a friend. But ultimately, it is clinically proven that when you are engaged in certain common mindfulness meditations, you get the full benefit of health, well-being, body, mind, spirit, right? So one of the ones that I know I had the hardest time trying to do was the body scan. You're literally laying on the floor, and my whole feeling was, oh my goodness, are we done yet? Like, oh my goodness, like I'm even thinking about my first time doing it, and I had to like arch my back and like stretch out. I am usually someone that's a go-getter. I don't have time. I really don't have that space mentally that I'm aiming for to just sit. So it was difficult. So if you're like me and you have a lot of things in your mind, a lot of ideas and just situations that come up, and it just spurs a whole philosophical journey, and I need mindfulness. This is why I talk about it. So let me just go down quickly through a list of a few of the actual practices, and a couple of them I'm going to dig into a little bit deeper because I didn't even know that. So my personal, take is, if you aren't familiar with any of them, look it up, check it out, find them, practice them, see what works for you, and go from there. So body scan, let me just tell you what this is. And for those that you're familiar with this, just take the good and just leave all the other stuff that you don't need and you already know about it. For all of those that don't, your choice. Body scans. So you often lie down when you're doing a body scan. Some people do it sitting in the chair, but it's basically you use any posture that you like where you feel comfortable. And this meditation usually involves you becoming aware of your bodily sensations in a mindful way, step by step. Like, you can also begin to discover how easily, and this was me, how easily your attention wanders off to other thoughts, and how to be kind to yourself rather than being self-critical when this happens. Like, it's okay if your mind wanders, just recognize that it's wandering and bring it back, right? And you are literally doing this by starting off with, for example, your toes. For me, I lay down because I don't like having to sit up in a certain posture for any particular length of time. Like, I usually have to get up. So I like doing this in my most relaxed state, which is laying down. I maybe have a pillow under my head, depending on if I'm having any, awkward pains in my back. But either way, what I do then is start with my foot, and I'm I'm actually drawing awareness to any sensations that might be in my toe. And you just literally take that practice where you are being mindful of the sensations in your body as you leave from your toe, working your way to your ankle, working your way to thinking about the whole sensation in your foot, then your leg and your calf and your knee. And you can break it down depending on how long you're able to sit down and do this. You can break it down to the point where now you're at the point of thinking about your shoulders and any tension that may be in your shoulders, thinking about any sensations that might be on your face, your lips. For different people, again, depending on how long you're doing this, it may or may not go all the way to that place, but either way, you're being aware of it. And while you're doing it, you're breathing, you're relaxing, you're paying attention to those sensations. And every time any thoughts start to come into your head and you start to wander off, just bring it on back. It's okay. If you have a random itch, acknowledge the itch. Don't scratch if you can, and keep it moving. Another one is a movement meditation. Usually movement meditations fall under yoga, tai chi, qigong, or any other physical mind-body exercise. Now, this type of meditation involves focusing on, again, your bodily sensations, your breathing, and mindfully watching and maybe even letting go of some of those thoughts or emotions that arise for you during that practice. So slow walking meditation is a possibility, and it's sometimes used and is useful. I know for me, The walking meditation wasn't necessarily helpful, but doing mindful yoga was really good for me. Tai Chi, for those that don't know, these are the two. Tai Chi and Qigong are the two that I dug into a little bit more than the others because I'm aware of the other ones. Again, if you're not aware of any of these, feel free, Google, check it out, try it. YouTube, they have a lot of different practices. Just put it in. So Tai Chi is T apostrophe AI space CHI for those that didn't know. And Tai Chi is basically considered like a supreme principle. It comes from China, and it's basically where you are cultivating the spiritual and your physical nature in one. So it's a combination of physical movement while you're also seeking inner peace by practicing that balance of your body and your thoughts and your mind, right? So that's pretty neat. I might try that. I've seen people do Tai Chi and have said how much it helps them even with pain management. So that's something to consider and dig into a little bit more research. But it's really about bringing about your spiritual man in connection with your carnal man, like your body, your physical body. Okay. And then, like I said, there's Qigong, and Qigong is spelled QI space GONG. And interesting enough, I found out that Qigong literally means life force. That's the Qi. Gong, they said, is the most commonly used word to translate into practice. So what you do with your life, cultivation, your practice, your work. So basically the attributes of it are like effort, practice, time, and goal. So it is the life force of what you do in your life. And it's said to animate you. Like it's also considered, the Qi is considered the energy of life. And so it's supposed to animate you and give you an emotional experience and help you with that. And so for those that are going through emotional stressors and maybe you're dealing with traumas, maybe the Qigong practice of the mixture of the movement with your spiritual well-being might be something you want to try. I don't know. Think about it. Try it out. See if it works for you. So the next one, breathing space meditation. Now, a lot of people are more familiar with this one. So it's basically like having a short, and this is like roughly 3-minute meditation. And you do this practice a few times a day, and whenever you experience like being really highly stressed in a situation or you're dealing with difficult emotions. And generally speaking, the idea is to create a mindful awareness of what you're going through, of that experience, instead of trying to avoid it. Like I always try to encourage my patients when they are dealing with high stress and they're dealing with a lot of emotions, especially nowadays with everything going on in the world. You may try to keep busy, stay busy so you don't have to deal with it. And that isn't helpful. That stress can really eat away at you physically, mentally, and emotionally. And what you want to actually do is face it head on. And some ways that you can do that, besides, as you guys may start to get to know me, I say it's more obvious to lean on prayer and lean on God and your spiritual anchor. But for those that are really seeking that space, in addition to prayer, in addition to a meditation, it's taking those breaths, just for a few minutes can help you. Like truly, it can help you. And this approach has actually been shown to scientifically be much more effective than avoidance. I'm going to repeat that. By breathing for just roughly 3 minutes, you can actually have a better outcome than avoiding those emotions, right? So just keep that in mind. The next one is expanding the awareness meditation. So this is usually called a sitting meditation. So if you're in a chair, you put your feet flat on the floor, and it can be practiced in generally any position, but it involves focusing often in this order, like on your breath, on your body, on the sounds around you, the thoughts that are coming to your mind, your feeling, and lastly, developing an open awareness where you're choicelessly aware of whatever it is that is really predominantly on your mind, that's in your conscious self, in your conscious mind. And you can break down like this actual expanding awareness meditation type into meditations like mindfulness of breath meditation, where you're focusing your attention on the feeling of your in-breath or your out-breath. And each time your mind wanders, bringing your attention back without judging yourself or being like, oh my God, my mind keeps going crazy. Don't judge yourself. So then there's also mindfulness of the body meditation, where you are feeling physical sensations in your body from moment to moment. And you can also practice this together, actually, with the awareness of breathing. So just like we said, you go down to the fact of what am I feeling at each in-breath, each out-breath. Any thoughts come up, put them to the side, right? So mindfulness of sound is another one. So everything that I'm saying is basically using that as your focus point. And for me, I discovered that because I am a thinker, something's always on my mind, another idea, something else to do, something to consider. Just being really, I think I'm really introspective. I'm always thinking about what I'm thinking about and why, so that I could like calm it down a little bit. But for those of you that are like me, having something to focus on is always really helpful when I am doing any mindfulness. So as I'm going down that list of the different types of the expanding awareness meditation, I'm going to just let you know it's about, let's see, like 6 of them. So it's mindfulness of breath meditation, mindfulness of body meditation, mindfulness of sound, mindfulness of thoughts, mindfulness of feelings, and then an open awareness meditation. The open awareness meditation gets me every time. My mind is going everywhere. And that's where you're not having a choice. You're not being specific about, I'm paying attention to my feelings. I'm paying attention to my thoughts or the sounds or my body. You are really just aware of whatever comes up more predominantly in your awareness without choosing. So you may be aware of any of the above, whether it's your thoughts, your feelings, your sounds, your body, your breath. And that is your meditation experience, right? So that's that. Another group of mindfulness meditations are more like visualizations. So I usually would call those like, I'm doing meditations that are like guided imagery. And these meditations are where they slightly expand in that world of mindfulness. And it usually involves paying attention to present moment experiences. However, many people are like usually visual and find that meditation is valuable. So the 2 main visual meditations that you can consider is, like I said, guided imagery. So a mountain meditation or a lake meditation. And the meditation helps you cultivate stability and groundedness and feel more centered. So even with the lake meditation, it's about exploring the beauty of accepting and allowing experience to just be as they are. So that's why a lot of times with meditation, it's like if you have a thought, if you have an itch, if a pain comes up for you in your body and you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize my back was that tense or my shoulders were that tight or my jaw was clenched that hard, from stress. It's really about, what do you do with that? Being present in that moment. And a lot of times it helps you experience the world with a lot more peace. So in addition to my ever ready prescription of prayer, these are things that I've done. I have done guided imagery. I've practiced and helped some of my patients and even some of the people that I coach with guided imagery. I also do the breathing, the mindful breathing. And in general, I've, done a certification program for mindfulness-based stress reduction. And those that don't know, it may almost, it's always identified as MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction. So either way, there's a lot of stuff out there for you to try. And so the best thing that you can do is to actually try it and see if it works for you. And whatever your spiritual foundation is, you can use that as your guiding force. I use God as my guiding force. When I am meditating, I think on God. I think on the goodness of what He's done for me. I think of my life. And even though it's not perfect by any means, did you all listen to some of my earlier podcasts about the doctor needing a doctor? Definitely not perfect. My life has been a series of unfortunate events, but at the same time, that series of events has also helped me grow to the place that I'm in now. So being mindful, being aware of that experience, I didn't even realize was being mindful. Like, I really was practicing mindfulness without even knowing that I was practicing mindfulness. And I'm trying to intentionally practice mindfulness now so that I can increase that awareness of my purpose as I continue to pursue peace, right? So that's it for today. We're going to talk some more about mindfulness. And as I may have mentioned in the last episode, we're going to be providing you all with a special edition. We're going to do some of these, whether it's guided imagery, breathing. We're going to do a few of those and have it packaged all nice for you, 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the most. And you can just go through it and use it and whenever, whether it's at work or at home, but that it can be that simple, but keep it consistent, right? So till next time, I'm not going to keep you long. You guys continue to be well out there. Please continue to wear your mask. We still don't have a cure, and they're still experimenting with treatments. So please be kind to yourself and your neighbor. Put on a mask. Stay 6 feet or more away. Wash your hands. Please wash your hands. And just continue this fight and this journey to find peace. All right? Till next time.